This video is brought to you by Skillshare.
Hello everyone! A few days ago it was my kid's birthday. He's a big fan of Link and all the Zelda games, so we decided to buy him Breath of the Wild. And he also got the Master Sword. And we also may have made him Link's outfit. So the only thing he doesn't have right now to be a real Hyrule warrior is a shield. But he's a little bit too young to have a big wooden shield. It would be too heavy for him. So I thought it would be very cool to make him one out of leather so he can play with it and carry it without getting tired. Then I thought it could be even better if I could make him a shield, which is not only a shield, but something in which he could store his Link's costume. So that's what we're gonna try and do today. We're gonna make Breath of the Wild, Traveler's Shield, leather backpack. Let's get to it. The first thing we need to do is to find an image of the Traveler's Shield as a reference. I found one on the Zelda wiki page and I resized it in Illustrator. I'm going for a diameter of 50 centimeters for the shield. There is a lot of small parts in the design, but they are all symmetrical, so I will only have to trace everything once. I'm drawing everything in red, so it's easier to see on top of the image of the shield. The left side is done now, so I can mirror it to get the full design, put everything back in black, and we can print the pattern and assemble it. I'm just taking my time and making sure everything's aligned perfectly. I'm taping the pattern to my workbench and using leathercraft tracing paper to trace the design. Again, I'm taking my time and making sure I don't forget anything. When everything is traced, we can go to the next step. So the pattern for the front part of the shield is ready now. I made another one for the back of the shield. It's not gonna be very visible, but I just wanted to put it there. Now we're ready to cut some leather. This bag is for my son, so it has to be very resistant, but also light enough so he can carry it and play with it all day. So I decided to use a 2mm thick vegetable tan leather. I'm cutting a very long piece that will become the gusset of the backpack. I'm using my utility knife and a straight edge to cut all the parts. Now I'm ready to emboss the front and the back of the shield. I'm using warm water to wet the leather, and I can emboss the whole design with my tracing tool. I'm trying to get as close as possible to the design of the shield in the game, so I don't have to be extremely precise. The shield must look handmade and maybe also a bit old. So no need to cut two perfect circles. As long as they are the same size, it's okay. I repeat the process to emboss the back of the backpack. The most challenging part is to make the boss out of leather. So I printed a simple mold with my 3D printer and tried to wet form it. With a few clamps, I should get enough pressure to get a good shape. To say I'm really happy with how the boss came out. First try is a win. Now we need to prepare a few parts to turn this shield into a bag. We need 2 straps, 2 pads for the shoulders, and 2 horizontal straps to straighten the backside. When all the holes are punched, I can cut the stripes to size and prep the other sides for the buckles. I'm also making 2 small pieces for D-rings so the kiddo can attach a bottle of water to the bag. It's time to take care of the gusset. I kept this piece oversized because we're gonna wet form it later, so it will stretch the leather and we won't need the whole length the mat says we are gonna need. But first we need to cut an opening right in the middle for the zipper. I'm using a beveler to break the angle of all the edges of all the parts. Now I can punch 4 holes in the backside to rivet the straps. All the parts are cut, edged, embossed, and fully dry. So now it's time to dye them all. I'm using water-based brown leather dye. That's the most delicate part of the build, because if I go over the line, there is no way to erase the dye. I'm also using a lot of light to see what I'm doing, and number 1 and 0 paint brushes. For the backside and the other parts, everything is brown, so it's a lot easier and quicker. front side is dry, I can dye the rim of the shield in black. The dye is dry now, so I can apply 2 coats of neatsfoot oil and let it dry fully. The boss is the center part of the shield, so it has to look nice, but also has to be very strong. I'm applying 2 coats of leather hardener inside the boss. This product dries very quickly, and now we have almost a real boss for the shield. I'm using laser white glue to keep the zipper in place until it's sewn. I'm using 4mm 4-teeth diamond hole punch all around the boss and the 2 faces of the bag. My trusty old Pfaff sewing machine helped me to sew the zipper in place very quickly, so I can now paint the boss and the rim of the front side. I'm using gold and silver water-based airbrush paint. The straps are kept in place with 4 rivets, but also by the horizontal straps we are gonna sew later. I'm not gonna sew the straps because it will allow my son to put his arm behind them and wear the backpack as a shield. I'm gluing the boss in place, making sure it's centered, and I can stitch it with polyester silver thread. Now I can stitch the horizontal straps and put the buckles on. The last step to prep the gusset is to carve a groove in the backside. It will allow me to shape the gusset more easily by giving the leather more flexibility. I'm shaping it by hand, and when it's all done, I can measure it and cut it to size. Some white glue to attach the two ends together, and everything is ready. All the parts are ready now, but before we go to assembly, I would like to talk to you about today's video sponsor, Skillshare. Skillshare is an online learning community with thousands of online classes for creative and curious people. If you want to learn something and you're searching for great tutorials, Skillshare is the place. You can explore new skills and develop existing interests, and they have a lot of different topics: craft, illustration, film, video, productivity, lifestyle, you name it. I've been using Skillshare myself for months to improve my video editing skills and learn a lot about Adobe Illustrator with Jeremy Moore and his Adobe Illustrator CC Masterclass. I learned how to use shortcuts and improve my workspace, and it really helped my workflow. The annual subscription of Skillshare is actually less than $10 per month. You will get unlimited access to thousands of classes with hands-on projects and feedback from a great community of creative people. The first 1,000 of my subscribers to click the link in the description will get a free trial of Skillshare Premium membership. You will get an unlimited access to thousands of classes and video, and you can access at any time on any device. Thank you again to Skillshare for supporting my work and sponsoring today's video. Now, let's get back to the bag, because we have a lot of stitching to do. This is probably the easiest step, but also the most time-consuming one. Before punching the holes into the gusset, I'm gluing it to the sides, making sure they are perfectly aligned, and using paper clips to keep everything in place until the glue is dry. Just make sure to put some leather or fabric between the clips and the bag, otherwise the clips could leave a dent or damage your bag. Now I can punch the holes and stitch the sides to the gusset. I'm punching all the holes by hand, and there are 371 for each side, plus the ones for the gussets and the other parts, which makes a total of more than 1,500 stitches to do, by hand. But you can also use a sewing machine if you have one. A little more laser dye around the shield. And 2 coats of finish. And the Traverse Shield backpack is done. Now you can give it to your kid so it can be Link for the day. As always, a big thank you to my Patreon supporters for supporting my work. Be good, be safe, keep making, and see you in the next one.